Steve?
Yes.
And John?
Yeah. Next agenda item, hearing of public concerns. You know, you need to raise your hand, just come forward and give your name. Thank you.
Steve Cox, Huntington Drive, Bryan. 2 weeks ago, I mentioned that there had been markings in the Eastland Estates complex where they're supposed to mill down the road in preparation for repaving. I mentioned at that point that there were no markings around the middle court island. That is still the state right now.
Did you call the engineering department and let them know that? Because we're legislative. We don't make those kind of decisions and stuff. I really probably should have went to the engineering department, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah.
It's also only been 2 weeks, and there's a lot of stuff going on. They're finishing the final engineering information for Frontier because those villas close next week, so there's been a lot of back and forth with Frontier on that they've been working on top of a lot of other things, including getting bids out for projects this summer. So they just haven't been out there. They're not going to do anything with that neighborhood again until midsummer, so he's got to coordinate with the county engineer to get back out there and paint that area, and they want to make sure that they don't do it during your trash week, as that was when they had initially gone out there.
Is that your point, Mr. Cox, to find out like an update? To get an update?
Okay,
Was that your point of
well, what I don't want is for that area not to be repaired correctly.
Well,
And
sir.
it's going to have to be milled in order to do that.
Okay, sir, the county engineer and the city engineer were both out there. They are both the experts in this. They are both paid to be the experts in this. They will both determine what needs to be done in those areas, and they will do that. But that decision does not need to be made today or in 2 weeks. They've got some time to do that, and they will have to coordinate their schedules. But in the last 2 weeks, the city engineer and the zoning administrator have been working on other projects that have very time-sensitive components to it.
So your point was to get an update and give an
The fact
opinion
that, yeah,
on what should be done.
if that milling work is not done before they apply the tar and the gravel, it's going to collapse. It's going to be worthless because it is in that bad a state. Now, I have invited you guys to stop out and take a look so that you have a better reference with that as to what I've been talking about. And I understand that tonight is definitely not a night to go out taking a look at broken pavement. I understand the social schedule, et cetera, for a lot of people is very tight. So, again, I just want you guys to realize that I hope that the fact that it is not marked, it is not neglected when the actual work gets done. And it seems to me that the easiest way to make sure that it gets done is to actually go out and mark it.
Yeah, and probably the most, you're welcome anytime. That's why we have public hearing. But I do need to second Ms. Leatherman's point, and I think Mr. Wieland last time made the same plea, which is it could be more satisfying if you directly contacted him to get an update and to also give your opinion on how to mark and what needs to be done. I would guess he more likely would say, I appreciate that, but since I'm the city engineer, consulting with the county engineer, we believe this is the best way to do it. But at least that conversation could take place there. We really rely on our staff to make those recommendations to us, and that's to skip that step kinda is not probably the best path.
Well, my experience in talking directly with the city engineer is that I am not getting accurate information. Whether it's intentional, I don't know. But,
It doesn't change the fact
He's-
that that's still the
well,
best operation move.
it's, I expect that you guys are supposed to be providing overwatch, so to speak.
Yes,
And if there's a problem and you're not informed about it,
that's correct.
how can it be corrected?
So if he gives you bad information, then my recommendation would be next to go to the mayor and say, your employee that answers to you is giving you bad information and giving me bad information. And then she can look at resolving that. And if that's not resolved, then it can come here, would be my, once again, I will restate, we have a hearing of public concerns because we do want to hear from the public, but I don't want it frustrating you and/or us, and especially you feeling as though you're talking to us and it's falling on deaf ears. It's not falling on deaf ears, it's just falling on ears that don't think at this point we have enough information to be able to help you, if that makes sense.
All right, well, as background, I have been commenting about this issue since 2022, 4
I'm aware.
years.
I am poignantly aware of
Okay.
how long you have been coming, because I've been a council person for 8 years, and 2022 is only half of that. I'm just trying to help you be more effective, possibly. It's up to you.
Okay. And again, you're more than welcome to come out and take a look at what's actually there.
I appreciate
So,
that.
and I can give you a guided tip, no fee,
Okay? Well, that's good.
so.
I'm not big on fees. Thank you.
You may be the only person in business that I've ever met that way. Thank you for your time. I do appreciate it from all of you.
John, Clerk Treasurer's report.
Yes, council has been given the monthly reports for the period ended April 30th. Normal cash, expense, revenue reports, bank reconciliation, along with those bank statements. Provided you the handout that I normally provide at this time, and if you have any questions, I'll be happy to discuss any of that.
Anything stick out? Because it didn't to me.
You know what, the thing that would be, if you recall, a year ago, our income taxes were down a little. We had a
Yes.
huge 2024, 2025, they had a little dip, and they seem to be on the
Back.
rebound, and I can tell you
Yeah.
the little advance read that May is looking good too.
Okay. Good to hear. Thanks, John.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Jim,
Yes.
Mary,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
and John.
Yes. John, if you'd like to number and read agenda item 5, resolution.
Resolution number 30, 2026, a resolution to accept a $13,700 donation from various sponsors for the Parks and Recreation Department for the Fountain City.
Good evening, council.
Good evening.
Before you, you have the list of a couple donors for the amphitheater. As you're all aware, the amphitheater runs on donations. So we'd like to get those accepted and moved over so we can continue to bring acts into the amphitheater for 2026. I would also like to mention that if anybody's still interested in donating, it's not too late. We would take a donation for 2026. Just contact the Parks and Recreation Department, and we can help you out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll move to suspend.
I'll second.
Jim,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Mary, and John.
Yes.
I move to approve.
And I'll second.
Mary,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
and John.
Thank you.
Yeah, I got a quickie,
Yeah.
and it's not, you know me, I'm not a gotcha guy.
No, no.
Ooh, gotcha. Doesn't work with my DNA. I hate that when it happens to me, and I certainly have no intent to do it to others. Just so happens I saw you, waved at you at the Lincoln Park, and that went well.
Good.
And I made an assumption that you're like driving by and also check. And I've noticed in the paper, there seems to be a theme of issues at Lincoln Park. Is there anything, and I think the police and you are doing a great job, we have cameras, et cetera, but why are we having so many? Is it just the nature of?
I think some of it is the nature of the beast.
Okay.
With it being new, it is more popular. Some of it is location. The other thing too is I think we finally got across to the adult users that going to Facebook an hour later, calling us the next morning, it's really hard for us to help them if there's a situation.
If they see something.
So what's happening is I think Chief is starting to get more phone calls about, I'm not dealing with this, I'm just gonna call the police. And then you see it in the log because there is a phone call and they do respond to it. So I think that's some of it. Obviously, the weather has finally changed, so it's been really quiet down there for 4 or 5 months. And the weather's starting to change, so
Right.
activity's starting to pick up. So I think there's a lot of combinations that play into it, but
It's such a great area that none of us want to see that
Right.
get the stigma that, gee, you might want to stay away because juveniles are in there flushing toilets or.
yeah. I
Yeah,
have
that's
been
tough.
told that early on, they had the same kind of situations at Imagination Station
Okay.
when it was newer, because the big kids want to be there and they want to play too, and that
Sure.
creates problems.
Sure.
And eventually it kind of ran its course and it, something
Kinda
new
straightened
will
out.
pop and they'll go somewhere else, hopefully. But,
Well, I think it
obviously
does
we're
take
doing
a-
everything we
I'm
can to,
sorry.
no, you're fine. We're doing everything we can to try to limit it and take care of it when it comes to us.
Well, we appreciate it.
Yeah, and I think it does take time. Speaking as a bus driver, as coach and teacher, and I think Steve could agree to this, that kids, adults, human beings need to understand there are consequences to behavior. And sometimes that takes a while, so don't get discouraged, Chief. It sometimes takes some of that to occur. When I worked in juvenile, that seemed to work well.
We've had at least 3 or 4 situations caught on camera that have gone to the juvenile prosecutor. So if we catch them and we can identify with the help of
Sure.
Chief Ruskey's crew, we are enforcing penalties and along that line. So
Well, thank you.
Okay.
And Ben works too with Judge Gallagher in the prosecutor's
Yeah.
office, and I think there was one juvenile that may have spent some Saturdays with Mr. Dave Batt, learning life lessons.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we all try to, I think, work together, and I saw those same things in the log and
Yeah.
spoke to the chief today, didn't I? Sorry.
we have had 3 of them that have gone through the court and then actually come back to do some of their community service
Good.
with us. So
Well,
we'll
I was
keep
a
plugging away.
mediator with
Hopefully it'll get
Shalom
better.
Ministries, and I think that's the best consequence to an action is what are you going to do to fix this? And to me, that is restorative justice. And that's, I think, what I saw in my juvenile detention years was the most effective. I don't want to do that again, kind of thing. Even more so than incarceration, because I did both. The incarceration rate was greater than the restorative justice piece. it felt different to them, I think. So thank you for what you do, and it's a gem.
Thank you.
The Lincoln Playground's a gem.
Thank you.
John, could you please read agenda item 6, number and read agenda item 6?
Ordinance number 22, 2026, an ordinance providing for annual appropriations for the city of Bryan for fiscal year ending December 31, 2026, and declaring an emergency. There are a number of items on here. 2 of them are related to park donations, one of which Mr. Dominic just mentioned. The list of others all fall under the line items called vehicle maintenance. The city had a number of vehicles damaged by the hailstorm a few weeks ago, and so this is a mechanism to appropriate the insurance dollars that we've received for those repairs.
I have a motion.
I'll move to suspend.
I'll second.
Jim?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes. And John?
Yes.
Approve.
And I'll second.
Mary?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
And John?
Yes. John, please number and read agenda item number 7.
Ordinance number 23, 2026, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Griffin Pavement Striping LLC, a project known as 2026 Pavement Marking Program.
Good evening.
Evening.
Last week, we opened bids for our annual pavement marking program. Griffin Pavement Striping was the only bid. Their bid came in at $163,790.
Which was less than what the engineer's estimate was.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Well, I'll move to suspend.
I'll second.
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Thank you.
Approve.
And I'll second.
Jim?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
And John?
Yes.
Thank you.
Dan, could you please number and read ordinance number 8?
Ordinance number 24, 2026, an ordinance approving the editing and inclusion of certain ordinances as parts of the various component codes of the codified ordinances of the city of Bryan, state of Ohio, and conforming traffic and offenses code provisions to state law changes.
Mr. Duranzik?
Good evening. Nice to meet all of you.
Evening.
So this ordinance is more to create uniformity and adopt what's been passed by Ohio Revised Code, just to keep in line the Bryan codes so there's no disparities between the two. And I'm happy to field any questions you may have concerning this.
Can you give me an example?
So a lot of the definitions would change. An example would be, I know there's a concern with scooters, mobile devices throughout the city. One of the ones is a low-speed micro-mobility device, which is technically an electronic that can go up to 20 miles per hour. And in that definition, it allows for it to be on roadways and sidewalks. However, in that provision, though, there is, it gives some leeway to municipalities if they want to revise that to restrict the location of those. So that's one of the ones that caught my eye when reviewing this.
Do you have any idea have you heard, unfair question, first of all, but if you don't, that's fine too. Have you heard of any other municipalities who have, in fact, changed the stipulations that the state, because my understanding is what we passed was not what the state said, minimum requirements. Is that a correct assumption or remembrance on my part?
Correct, yes.
So are you aware of any other municipalities who have taken that to a different place?
I have, yes. Archbold has done that. And there is a fine line to where you don't want to change something so drastically where you're inviting litigation.
Right.
So you want to do it in a way where you're not going to, you're going to appease people but not also upset them to where you
Right.
could possibly invite that litigation.
Yeah, so I'm not going to follow up with that, but that would be helpful for me, Mayor, if you could get that from Archibald. I'd like,
Sure, you mind sending that over?
Absolutely. I can send
Thanks.
them.
or you can send it to me directly, I don't care.
Okay, yeah.
Because my understanding is in the past year, there have been more municipalities who have, and quite frankly, the micro-mobility scooter, now, many of them go upwards of 30 mile per hour plus. So I would just like to know and kind of keep track of that before we have a potential problem. I don't want to restrict, no one, I don't ever remember recalling banning them. That was brought up before. But I don't want to restrict that much either, but I think there's maybe some common sense pieces that might be able to be put together that is a balance. And Archibald would be a good reflection of that because that's kind of a community that's somewhat similar to Bryan. Don't tread on me kind of a thing.
Correct, yeah.
At the same time, we do need to protect some other issues. So if you could send me that, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely, yes. And you're right, it is a fine line, and you're
Yeah.
absolutely correct where it's a balance. One thing I did find interesting, they put it directly in the code for the definition of the micro-mobility devices, that municipalities can restrict them. So I think that's important to know.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank
And
you.
Ohio Municipal League did just send out a survey on those for the communities. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think after the third reading, it just did not pass, right? You guys
Yeah.
did not pass anything.
It was 1-4.
Yeah.
Correct.
So what you're adopting tonight is just the state code. And again,
That's
it's
correct.
to make sure that they can
Uniformity.
prosecute and keep everything uniform.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No.
So another question, though, I noticed there's ones that say added, and then there's other ones that say amended. So were all these that have added beside them, were those things that were missing from our codes?
State code.
That is correct.
That the state
That's
agreed?
my understanding.
Okay, because I'm like, wow, that's a good chunk of things there.
Yeah.
Especially when I look, I started looking at this in just the first page in regards to all the things that were added in regards to that. So it's like, okay. So,
Good point.
all right,
Thank you.
thanks.
Thank you much.
Thanks, James.
I'll make a motion to suspend.
I'll second.
Mary?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes,
And John?
Yes.
and I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Steve?
Yes,
Mary?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
And John?
Yes. Item 9 is the building permit. Is this an ankle or an Achilles?
Ankle. You all should have received an updated application on your desk when you arrived today. I apologize, I sent the initial application out in the packet. Tonight I have a permit for Aldi's at 1126 South Main Street. Deerfield Construction Company's doing the work. State zone is C2, state construction type is 2B. State use group is M and S1. This is a 23,881 square foot renovation, just north of Goodwill there. Cost for the project is $1,863,053.
Was there any information, or are you allowed to even get any information as it relates to potential employment status, number of?
No, I don't have any of that information.
just kind of curious, though. I mean, social media had this before we did. And it was, and
So
they've been
not
working there.
necessarily true, but we had contacted them and asked if they were willing to do a joint press release, and they were not at that time. So for whatever reason, the local manager did go out on social media, even though corporate did not. us
Correct.
approve that. So it's just a little out of our control.
I-
Oh, really? Yeah, that would be
I
maybe
issued a
why.
partial permit. They had state plans back in January,
But it was on
Okay.
social media last fall,
so.
Yeah.
so.
Super. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
It's actually been conversations for longer than that. So,
Yeah, I think when I first heard about it was, last fall.
Well, I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Jim,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Mary,
Yes.
and John.
Yes.
Thank you.
Excuse me. Mary, do you have anything?
I have one city-related thing. I just want to let everyone know that the Memorial Day Parade will be happening at 9 a.m. on Monday. That begins at the Goodwill parking lot, and we proceed to Fountain Grove Cemetery for the ceremony. I believe if it's raining, it will be at the high school gymnasium. And then obviously graduation is Sunday at 2 for the seniors. That's it.
That I can tell you is in the high school gym.
That'll
Why
be fun.
chance it, yeah.
Where
Absolutely.
Mr. Osbald will say everyone's named perfectly right as his last retirement duty, right? As
2,180 names
2,000?
is what I've said during his
There
tenure.
you go. I was like, not
Yeah.
Saturday.
That's a heck of a graduating class, is my first.
Yeah, it is.
We grew. That's a heck of a list.
It is. So,
Well done.
over 18 years
Well done.
of reading names at graduation.
Very good.
John,
Nothing else.
I guess there's no ladies, so gentlemen. Dare I call you?
I would not.
That's a good comeback.
I'm good.
We good?
Yep.
There's nothing else? Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll
I
make that.
will motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Jim,
Yes.
Mary,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
and John.
Yes.